on the eagles, the mighty eagles, and are proud to say aloud, eagles, eagles, the mighty eagles, that forever and will fly. Eagles, eagles, free eagles, we are one above the rest. E-A-G-O-L-E-S, eagles are the best. Oh, yes.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Once upon a time, there were two best friends, and their names were Frog and Toad. They both hopped to their beautiful homes in the forest, and they waved to all their animal friends in the forest, and they all went to hibernate for the winter. And they all slept and slept and slept. But soon April came, and when April comes, what happens?
It's time to wake up!
Now, Frog was happy to get up and greet the spring. She came out of her home and stretched out there. And then she saw that her windows were dirty, so she cleaned her windows. And then she hopped into the forest to say hello to all of her friends. While she was there, she was looking high, and she looked low, and she looked all around and didn't see her friend Toad. So she decided to hop over to Toad's house. When she got there, she saw the lights were on, but she didn't see Toad. She looked on the side of the house, no Toad. She even looked through the window, couldn't see Toad. Do you all think that stubborn Toad woke up for the spring?
No!
So Frog is going to try to wake up Toad. So Frog knocked on the door.
What?
Frog knocked again.
Stop bothering me!
Frog tried to knock again.
Go
So obviously Toad doesn't want to wake up. So Frog's gonna need some help to wake up Toad. So on the count of 3, we're gonna say, wake up Toad, it's springtime. 1, 2, 3.
Wake up, Toad! It's springtime!
Toad came out the house and said,
It's springtime. Why do you say so?
and all the animals and all the friends got together to celebrate the spring. One day, Frog and Toad both went to go check their mailboxes. Now, Frog always got a lot of letters. Many letters. He was so excited about it, he decided to hop over to his friend's Toad's house to show her all his letters. When he got there, he was just so excited. He stood over in front of Toad's door and was telling Toad about it, and Toad was like, she never got any letters, and that made her really sad. So she went inside of her house, all emotional about it, and she looked out the window, and she wanted to be the saddest sad Toad there was. Well, Frog didn't want his best friend to be sad, so he had an idea. So he hopped back over to his house and he went inside and he was looking for some paper. He was fumbling through things, looking through some paper, and he found some paper and he started to write a letter. And when he finished, he came out of the house and he put a stamp on his letter. And then he hopped into the forest to find somebody to deliver the letter. Now, I wonder who he asked first to deliver the letters for him.
The bees?
No, not the bees. So he hopped to the other side of the forest. I wonder who he asked over there to deliver the letter for him.
The birds?
So if he didn't ask the bees and he didn't ask the birds, I wonder who he asked.
The snail? Where is the snail? There he is. Wait up. Wow, he's moving fast! Thorny snail.
So Frog gave the letter to the snail. And the snail said he would deliver it as fast as he could. Toad and all their friends had so much fun during the springtime. You wouldn't believe some of the stuff they did. They did stuff like plant their gardens, fly kites, ride bicycles, throw baseballs, and have picnics. The days flew by and soon it was summer. What are some cool things we do in the summer? We do stuff like go swimming, play video games, go surfing, and drink lemonade. Now, what goes good with a tall, cool glass of lemonade? Cookies! Well, one day, Frog and Toad were real bored. Frog was at his house, and he couldn't figure out what he wanted to do. He checked his mailbox. No letters today. Then he tried to call a friend on his outdoor forest cell phone, and he didn't get anybody to answer. So he decided to go ahead and go inside his house and pine out the window and just wanted to be the most bored frog that you've ever seen in this world. Meanwhile, Toad was also bored. But when Toad gets bored, Toad likes to bake. So she went over to her outdoor kitchen and she decided to roll up some dough because she was going to make some cookies. So she cut out her cookies. Then she put sugar on those cookies. And she put some cinnamon on those cookies. And then she was about to start, but then she realized she forgot something. So she hopped back into her house and started looking through the house. She needed to find that special ingredient. She's looking through the kitchen, up under the sink, and then she found it. And then, dun, da, da, da. So she went over to her kitchen and she started to put a little hot sauce on these Cajun cookies. And then she thought it didn't have enough, so she took the top off and just dumped a whole bunch of it on there. So after the cookies were nice and seasoned and hot, she put it in the oven. And she went inside to go take a nap while those cookies were baking. Meanwhile, at Frog's house, he was still bored. So he decided to come outside. And when you're bored, you feel like you just need to go hop around. So he hopped into the forest to go to Toad's house, and when he got to the middle, he could smell the aroma of some cookies baking. So he knew who was baking cookies. He hopped over to Toad's house. He looked in Toad's window and didn't see Toad. So he went out to Toad's kitchen and opened up Toad's stove. Toad heard and smelled the cookies from her stove, and she came out and tried to stop Frog real quick, but she couldn't stop him, and Frog ate one. And it was hot. I mean, really hot. So at that point, Frog and Toad had an idea. They decided they were going to share those cookies with all the animals in the forest. And so they gave all their friends some of these special cookies that she made. They were all sitting down, not playing with anything, waiting. And so, after they got their cookies, they all held their cookies up real high. They held them up high, so high, and they wanted to make a cookie toast. And they said, this is to all the cookies that we're going to eat in our lifetime. And then they ate them. What's the fun of baking super hot cookies if you can't share them with your friends?
Eating cookies, we're so happy. Eating cookies, 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 we adore. Cookies, 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 we go cookie. Eating cookies, maybe we should stop. Just one more. Eating cookies, we're so happy. Eating cookies, 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 we adore. Cookies, 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 we go cookie. Eating cookies, we will never stop. Let's have more. Cookies, chocolate chips.
Autumn came, and the leaves started falling from the trees. Well, one day, Frog decided to hop into the forest to see some of her friends. And on that same pretty autumn day, Toad decided to hop into the forest to see some of his friends. The frog went over to Toad's house to say hi, but Toad wasn't there. And so she looked around in his yard and noticed he had a bunch of leaves on the ground. So she said, "Look at this mess. I'm gonna help out my friend Toad." So she started to try to rake up those leaves. Well, on that same day, Toad decided to go over to Frog's house and didn't see Frog over there, but he was looking around. He said, "Hey, all these leaves on the ground, gonna get a letter from the HOA." So he decided to go ahead and start raking up leaves for his friend Frog. Frog called over some of her friends to help her out. Toad decided to call over some of his friends to help him out. And so they all worked and worked and worked and was raking and working until they had 2 piles of leaves. They shook hands on the job well done, and they sat down to have some lunch. And they sat and they talked and told stories and laughed and had a good old time eating that food, fell asleep, and took a nap. One group of animals did not help everybody with the work. It was those squirrels. They only cared about gathering fruit and nuts for themselves. And so, when they came into the forest, they laughed like this. And when they got there, they said, "Hey, 2 piles of leaves." And then they just jumped on them and kicked them and jumped and kicked them and then jumped and kicked them and stepped on them and jumped on them and danced on them and ran over them and did everything to them. And then they ran and snuck back off into the forest with that evil little laugh. Well, Frog and Toad woke up and saw that all the leaves had been messed up. And at first, they were upset. Then they got mad. And then they got really upset. But in the end, what did Frog and Toad learn?
It's the cows.
And meanwhile, guess who was still trying to deliver the letter for Frog and Toad?
Go, snail, go!
The snail took so long that it became winter. Now, what do we do in the winter? We do things like drink hot chocolate, put on big coats, we wear earmuffs, we put on gloves, and we throw snowballs. And after we've done all that, we warm our hands by the fire. Well, one day, Frog went to ask Toad to go sledding. Now, Toad didn't like to do stuff that was dangerous, but Frog said to Toad, "Hey, we're gonna go sledding. You wanna go?" And Toad said, Frog said, "It's gonna be fun." And Toad said, Frog said, "Everybody's gonna be there." And Toad said, Frog leaned in and said, "They're gonna have pizza." And Toad said, So Frog convinced Toad that it was gonna be safe and that nothing would happen. And so we're gonna go on a sleigh ride. Are you ready, everybody? Then away we go. Frog fell off the sled and left Toad all alone. This made Toad so angry, she said she was never going to speak to Frog again. But just when she said that, guess who arrived? The snail gave Toad the letter, and she realized it was a letter from Frog. And she read it, and she realized that her and Frog were best friends after all. And so before they knew it, it was winter time again. And so Toad hopped over to her house, and Frog hopped to his house. And they waved to all their friends in the forest, and they went inside to hibernate for the winter. And they all slept and dreamt of the adventures that awaited for them next spring. They all slept, but soon April came. And when April comes, what happens? And they all celebrated a brand new year.